Yuvraj Singh. Now you saw the title and you've seen the thumbnail and you've clicked on this video to find out why was he dropped in the first place. He is the kind of player where adjectives are not enough to describe the kind of impact he's had in Indian cricket. Also, why him being dropped at that stage is still talked about today, and even today there are ex-cricketers talking about Yuvraj Singh getting dropped and how that is one person's fault or the other, and there are fathers going around and jumping on the blame game. Now, Yuvraj Singh in Indian cricket will be a legend in his own right. He won the Champions Trophy, he won the T20 World Cup, he was famous for that 6 sixes in an over against Stuart Broad, he won the 2011 World Cup, was the man of the tournament. He was involved in that famous NatWest final against England at Lord's. He has close to 12,000 international runs and close to 150 wickets. He has most player of the series awards in a one-day international series. Now there's so much to talk about Yuvraj Singh, but something that stands out is the fact that he won the 2011 World Cup while being diagnosed with cancer. He did not just win the battle on the field, but he won the battle off it. And then he makes his return to the international circuit. It was definitely the most fairy tale comeback story, except Yuvraj Singh could never establish himself as the player that he was or against the players he was with. There are few things to keep in mind while watching this video and while talking about Yuvraj Singh. One, that he's a left-handed batsman. Second, he's the most flamboyant left-handed batters out there. He was known for his aggression not only while batting but also his fielding. He was one of the best fielders out there during that time. But he was also known to pull out India out of difficult situations. He was simply a match winner. And the best part about him was he was a batter who could take any bowling attack apart while also bowling when the captain needed him to. He would at times be the most important spinner at that stage, get those wickets and contain runs. But right, that's enough talking about Yuvraj Singh the player. Let's get into the crux of it before we talk about everything else. And if you really want to know who was the reason behind Yuvraj Singh getting dropped, before we get into all of that, hit that subscribe button. 11th September 2012. It's India versus New Zealand, the second T20 game. And we have Yuvraj Singh walk into bat with the crowd going berserk because he is a man who not only won the World Cup for India but fought cancer and now is back playing international cricket. It was one of the best moments of Indian cricket because you had your best servant walk into the field once again. Great, we have Yuvraj Singh back. He scored 34 runs of 26 balls with a strike rate of 130.7. India lost the match, but that was okay because Yuvraj Singh was back. Things were going to get back into normal. Now, there are a couple of things to keep in mind, right? Yuvraj Singh was, of course, back. He was back playing international cricket. He was back playing in the Indian team. In those 34 runs that he scored, he hardly looked in rhythm. He looked out of sorts. He looked unfit. It looked like he was very, very tired on the field, which was all understood. But it was also concerning because did we rush Yuvraj Singh back into the field? Now, all of this doesn't matter because 3 months later, Yuvraj Singh was back in the ODI squad. He played against Pakistan, played 3 matches with an average of just 11.3. He also did bowl 6 overs in these 3 games, gave away 43 runs with an economy of 7.1. Not the best starts in T20s and ODIs, but that's okay. That's fine because we have Yuvraj Singh back. But there's a story to tell here, right? Yuvraj Singh is back on 30th December of 2012. We have the Champions Trophy in 2013. So there was a lot of pressure for Yuvraj Singh to perform, to make it to the Champions Trophy squad. Now, we all know that did not happen, and that is because of the kind of form he was in leading up to Champions Trophy. He played 8 matches with just an average of 20. It didn't look good for Yuvraj Singh once he was back, but that's okay because Yuvraj Singh was introduced later in the year and Champions Trophy was right around the corner. So we all knew he was going to come back eventually anyway. But even in the IPL in 2013, he played 13 matches with an average of 19.8. Now listen, right? I'm not going to go harsh on him because he is a man who just fought cancer, who's coming back to the international circuit. He deserved to be welcomed the way he was and he deserves these chances, 100%. Now after the Champions Trophy, Yuvraj Singh does make a comeback in the T20 squad and this is on 10th October. And to do this, he had to score a lot of runs. He scored 337 runs in 5 list A games with an average of 67.4. He also scored a quick fire 52 against West Indies A in Bangalore. This meant that he was back again into the T20 squad on 10th October. On 10th October, there was just one T20 game against Australia where, of course, Yuvraj Singh stands up. He scored 77 of 35 balls to not only be the man of the match, but to be the only player from the Indian team to score 40 plus, which meant that India won by 6 wickets. We finally had the Yuvraj Singh that we knew come back, and now he makes it into the ODI squad. Now, it was all well and good because of all the list A runs that he had. He scored runs in that lone T20 game against Australia. But by the end of that season, he did get 8 more chances in the ODI setup, where he only averaged 16.8. He bowled a total only of 14 overs, getting only 2 wickets with an economy of more than 7. In an ODI format, to have an economy of more than 7 and have an average of just 16 with the bat, it was only about time until Yuvraj Singh got dropped once again from the ODI squad. Now, Yuvraj Singh's career post-cancer, after he came back battling cancer, seems like the yo-yo test that he had and failed and passed once again, because he was dropped from the ODI squad but continued to play the T20 format, and we all know how the 2014 World Cup went for him. He played all 6 games in the T20 World Cup in 2014, averaged just 20 and had a strike rate of 98. For someone like a Yuvraj Singh's caliber, or just anyone, you did not expect such low performance from him, and even if it wasn't Yuvraj Singh, you just knew you were going to drop him. And unfortunately, we all remember his innings in the 2014 finals against Sri Lanka. A lot of fans blamed him for the loss. It's unfortunate for the kind of innings he had to play because he just looked out of sorts. And this was a trend starting from the first game against New Zealand post his comeback until his last match. Interestingly enough, in the entire tournament with 6 games, he only bowled 1 over, giving away 13 runs. This is something to keep in mind because Yuvraj Singh was the kind of bowler who would give you so many overs before, but now he's hardly rolling his arm. Now, of course, after the 2014 T20 World Cup, Yuvraj Singh gets dropped from the T20 format. Now he's nowhere in international circuit. He's dropped from the ODI squad and dropped from the T20 World Cup, and he's trying to find his way back. The IPL that followed after that was the best IPL he's ever had in terms of runs and even in terms of average. It's not the best average he's ever had, but the amount of runs, the amount of 50s, and the average accumulation of all of this, it was just the best IPL he's ever had. He played 14 matches with an average of 34.1 with a strike rate of 130 plus. It was just great to see Yuvraj Singh have this sort of an IPL because after the World Cup and after all the criticism that he got, we just needed to see Yuvraj Singh back in form. Not just for his sake, but even as a fan of Yuvraj Singh, you just felt for him. And that IPL was the perfect timing just to see him get back into that form. Now we all know it. Things don't just end there. In 2016, he gets back into the T20 format. Yuvraj Singh himself was surprised by this because according to him, he thought he would have made it in the ODI and the T20 squad because his performances were in the 50-over format. Because in the 2015 Vijay Hazare Trophy, Yuvraj Singh was the highest scorer for Punjab. He played 6 matches with an average of 69.2 and a strike rate of 100. Again, we have Yuvraj Singh come back. But what was funny is that he also played the side Mustaq Ali, and Yuvraj Singh was nowhere to be found in the T20 format. He played 4 matches with an average of 18 and a strike rate of mere 107. Yet in 2016, Yuvraj Singh was selected back into the T20 format and not the ODI format. MS Dhoni at that time would back a lot of youngsters to bat in the middle, Ajinkya Rahane, Manish Pandey, Suresh Raina, to name a few. And he wanted to continue that trend. If Yuvraj Singh were to be back in that ODI squad, he would have to perform in the T20 format. But he unfortunately doesn't do that once again. In 2016, he played 15 matches with an average of just 20.7 and a strike rate of 104.4. He bowled 17 overs across all of these matches, picked up only 5 wickets with an economy of around 6. But after all of this, Virat Kohli is now the captain. And guess what? Yuvraj Singh is back into the ODI squad. Not only because Virat Kohli is the captain, but because of his performances in Ranji Trophy. He played 5 matches with an average of 84. Now that's simply insane. Now Virat Kohli did talk about Yuvraj Singh's inclusion in the ODI squad, and that is to make sure that MS Dhoni has some support in the middle order. Virat Kohli talked about how he himself will take the load on top of the order, and in the middle or the lower middle order, it only seems like MS Dhoni has been taking a lot of pressure, because of which they want Yuvraj Singh to be back. Now, Yuvraj Singh's first ODI match against England didn't go all that well, but in the second ODI match, we saw him scoring the highest score in a one-day international. He scored 150 against England, where India were in such dire position. Him and MS Dhoni had such a beautiful and long partnership. Yuvraj Singh taking on the bowlers, Yuvraj Singh playing like the way we know him to play. Now, Yuvraj Singh in that 3-match series against England, he averaged 70, which meant that he might finally be back, and this might mean that we will take him to Champions Trophy, which we finally did, but things did not go as planned for Yuvraj Singh. In the Champions Trophy, he played 5 matches, averaged just 35 with a strike rate of 99. Now, average of 35 batting in the middle might look good, but he had a not out and just 150 plus score, which just isn't enough. But the selectors did give him a chance once again after the Champions Trophy. He did play against West Indies, where he played those 3 matches, and once again had an average of just 19. Here and there he did fail the yo-yo test and then pass it once again, and then the selectors asked him to play domestic cricket once again to prove himself, and he was dropped once again, and this time for the final time. Now, before the ODI England series, of course, there was also a T20 series against England, where he played 3 matches with an average of 14 and a strike rate of 122. And that was the last time he played the T20 format. Now, of course, he continued to play the IPL, but wasn't as impressive as people hoped he would be. And then there is this question that our title raises: who is to be blamed? Who is at fault? Is it MS Dhoni, who didn't back him enough? Or is it Virat Kohli, who did pick him but didn't give him enough chances? The answer is that MS Dhoni did back him enough, and Virat Kohli picked him once again and couldn't back him enough because of the kind of players that were around him and that were scoring a lot of runs. It wasn't anyone's fault that Yuvraj Singh was dropped. Unfortunately, Yuvraj Singh wasn't the old Yuvraj Singh that we knew, and he just wasn't scoring enough runs. Interestingly, since his debut until April 3rd of 2011, every match that involves Yuvraj Singh, he's not only the highest scorer, but he has the 6th best average amongst the batters. And if you see the list, you will realize that a lot of these batters, except for Dhoni, are top order batters, which means he was one of the best middle order batters during his time. But after 3rd April 2011, that is ever since his comeback, every match where he's involved in, he is 9th on the list in terms of averages as a batter. He's below the likes of Kedar Jadhav, Ajinkya Rahane, who at that time was also batting in the middle order, Hardik Pandya, the all-rounder, Suresh Raina, and so many of the youngsters who were also scoring in the domestic circuit. Unfortunately, age wasn't on his side, and unfortunately, you just couldn't back him enough for the 2019 World Cup. There was a call to be taken in 2017, and the selectors and the captain had to do that. Now, there was a list I talked about at the start. He was still a left-handed batter. He was still flamboyant in those small moments. He was aggressive, but not as aggressive because he just slowed down technically, and also because he wasn't as fit as he used to be. He was a gun fielder before, but he looked very lackluster on the field now, and he almost stopped bowling completely. Now, the Yuvraj Singh that was dropped from the Indian team in 2017 wasn't the same at all as compared to the Yuvraj Singh before the 2011 World Cup final. Unfortunately, what he went through also took a toll on him physically, and it also was shown on the field. It's not the most happening conclusion of a YouTube video, but it just goes to show that it doesn't have to be one's fault for a career to get halted. It's just unfortunate circumstances that doesn't make you the player that you hoped you could be. Now, no matter what the conclusion of his career or this YouTube video was, Yuvraj Singh in his own right, once again, is a legend of Indian cricket, and he will always be that way. If you have enjoyed this video, like, share and subscribe, all that good stuff. You have all of our links in the description below. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We also have a newsletter, so if you haven't subscribed to that, do that too. And if you are a Yuvraj Singh fan, and if you have a favorite moment in mind, let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.